What's up guys, this is Theo here. Welcome to the final tutorial in ReactJS part 1. This will be the 7th tutorial. So we're on this .state. So it says basically state allows you to have dynamic information, sort of like this .props. So let's get started. So basically it says a React component can access dynamic information in two ways, props and state. And the way you set this up is you create this method called getInitialState, and inside of that you return an object, and you can have a key as whatever you want and a value as whatever you want, pretty much. So what I did here, I made this before, so I went through this before so I can explain it better, but basically I added a getInitialState method, and inside of here returned an object with the key of title and the string of best app, and then inside of here I can use this to access the component scope, grab the state, and then grab title, and that should return best app. So that will work. Let me run just to prove to you it does indeed get the green light from CodeCademy. It does. Let's move on to 3. To read a component state, use the expression this.state.name of property. So again, you're just binding the state with these handlebars, and it interpolates that code. It goes up here, runs this method, and it grabs your state and your key and your value pairs. So it says in app.js, get rid of the text inside of the h1. We did that, and I replaced it with this .state.title, which again will bind to best app. So I could say best app, add on some extra p's for exaggeration, and that should now change it to best app with a whole bunch of p's. Cool. And then down here, like always, we're rendering out our component, and then we're attaching it to that ID on the DOM. So cool. 4. A component could do more than just read its own state. A component can also change its own state. A component changes its state by calling the function this.setState. This.setState takes 2 arguments, an object that will update the component state and a callback. You basically never need the callback. So here's our object, and then this method is called this.setState hungry to true, and now the hungry property has been changed from false to true. Cool. So it takes an object, and then you can you can look at what's on that state property and change its individual key value pairs. So pretty cool. Let's move on. The most common way to call this .setState is to call a custom function that wraps a this.setState call. So what this does is it has its getInitialState, which returns an object with the key of weather and the value of sunny, and then it has this function makeSomeFog, which sets the state, and then it just grabs that key of weather and changes it to foggy. So pretty cool. What we did in here with the instructions, we created a new method called or let me go in here. We created a new method called changeColor, and we use the ternary operator. So we grab this .states.color, and which is green at the time, which actually maps to this hexadecimal code, which is green, more of like a I don't know, like a lightish turquoise green sort of. And what we did, we said, okay, if the color, if what we get from this .state.color is already equal to green, set it to yellow. Otherwise, set it to green. So that's how the ternary operator works. Then once we have that, I store it in this variable called changeColor. We're going to grab this key using setState and give it the value of whatever changeColor is, and that'll update the state. So finally, to get this to work, we hooked up a click handler. On click, we run this.changeColor. So now it'll work every time you click. Pretty cool. So 6. There's something odd about all of this. Look again at toggle.js. When a user clicks on the button, the changeColor function is called. Take a look at changeColor. ChangeColor calls this.setState, which updates this.stateColor. However, even if this .state.color changes from green to yellow, that alone doesn't make the screen's color change. The screen's color doesn't change until toggle renders. Okay, so that changes a virtual DOM object's color to the new this.state.color, eventually causing a change in the screen. If you call changeColor, shouldn't you then also have to call render again? ChangeColor only makes it so that the next time that you render, the color will be different. Why can you see the new background right away if you haven't re-rendered the component? Here's why. Anytime that you call this .setState, this .setState automatically calls render as soon as the state has changed. So that's the whole idea behind React. Like, it's only going to update your components when it knows that it's changed. So it's using dirty checking. Think of this .setState as actually being two things. This .setState, and then it has under the hood, it's running a callback function which is running render again. That is why you can't call this .setState from inside of the render function. This .setState automatically calls render. If render calls this .setState, you will create an infinite loop, so circular logic. Cool. Congratulations on completing Introduction to ReactJS Part 1. In this unit, you learned how to use require and module.exports to access one file from another. You learned about props and state and the countless variations on how they work. Before this unit, you learned about JSX components and how they can work together. A React app is basically just a lot of components setting state and passing props to one another. Now that you have a real understanding of how to use props and state, you have by far the most important tools that you need. In Introduction to ReactJS Part 2, the series we're going to do next, the focus will shift slightly outward. In addition to learning more new skills, you also learn your first programming patterns. These large-scale strategies will help you combine what you've learned and really start building. The third and final course is entirely on programming patterns. Now that your React.js foundation is strong, you're ready to start learning them. Alright, cool guys, so up next, it looks like we just finished that course. Cool, so it looks like the next one we could do is Introduction to React.js Part 2, now that we finished Part 1. So our first lesson will be stateless components inherit from stateful components. Learn to pass props from a stateful component to a stateless component. Cool guys. So we're done with Introduction to ReactJS Part 1. This was Tutorial 7, or Part 7 rather, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions, feedback. Like always, thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Thanks. Have a great day.